Good morning, everyone. This morning we are going to make a wood burn project that I am thoroughly excited about. We are going to make a nutcracker. But first, there's a couple of things to cover. I had a couple of messages from people who said that they did not receive all the little, I call them rails, when they received their X tool. Yes, indeed you did. They're not meant to go like this. They are meant to go into, oops, wrong one, every second space, like this. So have no fear. X-Tool did not cheat you or make a mistake. You are just going to line them up like this. And what this does is help to create some space under your wood to allow for air circulation. And it helps with the no fire, etc. issues, right? So we want that. It also helps with the, see if I can find some here. I don't get it much anymore. Oh, here we go. With this discoloring. Okay, so you really want to make sure that your little stand is in the bottom before you wood cut. The second question you guys asked me was, what wattage am I using for my laser? And it is a 10 watt. It is the standard laser. Oops, sorry guys. That comes with my X-Tool. And it does fine. It's fast enough. I am not one that is rushing. I enjoy my crafting time, so I don't need to worry about having the fastest laser. I just take my time and go step by step. And that's the best way to do it when you're learning anyway. Now, another question I had was, you have cut out a project now, Leslie, and this is left and this is left. That's wasted wood. Yes or no? The answer is no, absolutely not. I can lay this wood here and I can make sure that the X-Tool sees this space here to cut from. And then, once it's done cutting there, I can make sure it sees this space. That is the joy of using the crosshairs. I wish there was, wonder if I can show you on the bottom. Let me cut this light back a little. No, there is red crosshairs there. Right there. And they allow me to set out my design. So they allow me, as I was saying, to lay out the crosshairs onto the wood and mark it on the X-Tool software so that it is easy to go ahead and let the machine know that where you're going to cut, the parameters are this, right? So you line it up at the corner there, you go over to the X-Tool software, you get it to mark it, then you line it up at your next corner, which would be right about there. And that way it will cut from here to here, anything that you fit into this space. So I am going to go over right now and set up the marking for this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I am ready to mark. I have my crosshair right there. I push the button. I come down to over here, just making sure that I am far enough over to not lose any space or run into anything like that. So now it is marked, and I close my lid because now the X tool wants to measure the distance between the laser and the wood. So we'll get that done. Okay, here we go. We are going to auto measure our distance. A little needle comes down, pushes on the wood, it goes back up, and tells the machine the distance. And now we are ready to begin our cuts and our engraves. So in order to start our project, we need to be sure that the correct parameters are set. And once that is done, then we can start. Now what I mean by parameters is you have to set the intensity and the speed at which the laser cuts and engraves. It sounds very complex. It is not. Once I have found a program for doing like being able to show you my computer screen and my laser at the same time, I will be sharing the X tool system with you, and it will make it much easier to understand. But for now, I am going to go and get it started cutting or engraving and then cutting. Okay, here we go. I'm about to push start. It's just taking a minute to find my machine. There we go, it's found my machine, and I can push the silver start button on the front. You're going to see quite a bit of smoke when it starts to cut, but that is normal, and that is why you want to be sure to have a vented window or a air purifying system. My air purifying system is on the way. As most people know, winters in Canada, even here in lovely British Columbia, can get more than a little chilly, and so therefore I wanted to be able to close my window for the winter. Now what it does first is it engraves. And once it's done engraving, there is nothing to do. It will go straight into the cutting. It does indicate that this process will take just shy of 5 minutes. That is to engrave and to cut. The reason I can stand here like this and look into the cover, and the reason I can show you, is because the cover is kind of an orangey yellow and protects our eyes for us without the need for safety glasses. I know the table is vibrating a little, but it seems to be okay with the camera. As you can see, the engraving is done fairly quickly. After this, we'll have 2 more pieces to engrave. Or one that has engraving and cutting, and one that is just cutting. And then we'll get started on the assembly. I'm just going to pause you guys and I'll bring you back closer to when it's done. There it goes. You can see the cutting. All this smoke is, like I said, the reason you want to make sure you're vented. I also have an air assist to help prevent any prevent that smoke from coming back onto the wood, and to help pull it out through the window because it kind of forces it that way. I also have the fire suppression unit hooked up so that I don't have to worry if it were to start a fire on itself. The fire suppression unit will cut in and immediately fill this with the foam needed to put out the fire. Alright guys, I'm going to let it finish cutting and we'll come back. Okay guys, we are all done cutting. As you can hear, my fan is still running, and for that reason I will not open my lid yet. I wanted to suck as much of that out as it can. And now that it's done cutting, you can safely open the lid, and you will find all your little pieces in here. So you want to gather them up. Whoops, little feet are stuck. And you want to bring them over to your workspace. There we go. And you need all the little pieces, of course. Woo! So I will bring them over here. And now you can tell what I mean when I say that you can use every inch of the wood. I still have room here to cut something, here. Do not waste wood, guys. These hobbies, businesses, whatever the case may be for you, are expensive enough. We don't need unnecessary waste. Okay, let's put that back. Make sure those are all in. All my pieces are out. There we go. And now I'm going to set myself up for the next cut. And I will be right back. I'm basically going to follow the same idea again. Mark it with the laser so the machine knows where I am and what I am doing, and then go ahead, measure the depth, because you want to be as exact as possible, and then we'll get started cutting again. Okay everyone, some of you have asked me how precise a cut I can get, and we're about to see an example. Because I am challenging my machine today with the space that it has to cut in. So let's go. First it'll engrave the part just like before. And then it will cut. This one won't take long at all. Oops. Shaking you guys up like popcorn with this table today. What I mean about testing my machine's ability to do precise work is I'm very close to my left edge on a cut. I'm not too worried about it because it's covered by a piece that brings it some 3D effect, but I'd still like to test it and see how it does. I will bring you back as soon as we're almost completed. So here we go, engraving done, and we're doing the cutting. Now a couple of you have asked me, how does it smell? And I think it depends on what you're using, but there is definitely the smell of burning and almost like a chemical smell to it. I use untreated wood, but there is still a bit of a chemical smell that's hard to describe. So that is the reason for your ventilation. Again, I keep saying it and you're probably thinking I'm harping on it, but if this is something you're going to be doing a lot of, you want to be prepared, you want to be safe, and you want to know that you are not doing any harm to yourself. So here comes the part I'm wondering about. The cap on his sleeve on the left-hand side is pretty close to the edge. Once it's done cutting, I will show you how close we can get, or maybe we won't succeed. Okay guys, we are all done cutting, and we're just waiting for the fan to cut out. There we go, it has cut out now, and let's open it up. Alrighty, as it looked on the screen, however, it looked like it only had a sliver of space left. So see, we have not wasted any of that wood. And we have some really nice cut and engraved pieces. Now I want to show you the not so fun side of owning a laser. And that is this part. So I'll just take my rack apart. And I'll lay it over here. Now, it's kind of sticky on the bottom. Even though we did not use or lay our wood right down. Okay, so I have some wipes here. And I'm going to wipe because I don't want any of that dust to stay inside, any of the wood dust. And I'll give it a good scrub down. And this is the yucky side of owning a laser engraver. There is always a bit on the bottom that is sticky and brown, but I have found that if you wipe it off right away, it's not hard to get off. Then I dry it, just like so. And that's that. It's gone. And you could wipe your lid down each time too. So guys, I will bring you back over to the table, show you exactly what we have cut, and then we'll proceed from there. Okay guys, sorry about the banging. There's some work going on upstairs, but we'll ignore it. So this is what I was cutting out, was this cute little nutcracker. As you can see, he will have dimension. He starts with this layer, then this layer, which has our engraving, goes on like that. Whoops, found the spare piece. There we go. Then we have our little feet, which, speaking of detail, They even have the engrave. And they will go on just like this. Okay. Oops. We even have engraving on this tiny little belt, which will go there. His hat has our engraving. Whoops. And it will, sorry, line up that way. Just like so. We, of course, because he's a nutcracker, have to have the little teeth and the mustache. We have eyes if you want to use them. I do not. We have shoes. Whoops. We have cheeks. Oh, come on, come on. Or no, I'm sorry, these are not cheeks. Silly me. They will be right there like that, I believe. I will know better in part 2 because this is a long project and I don't want my video to be too long, so I am taking it to a part 2 where we will assemble our nutcracker using his base. I will paint him up and then we can get started. So you could use one base, but he's going to fall over. So I would make sure to glue 2 together to hold him up. And don't forget, when you're gluing him, when you're putting your pieces together, that his little feet need to be above, or his shoes need to be above the base there. I'll show you if I can. See, they're sitting on the base. So don't forget that part if you go ahead and put it together. Also, don't forget, for those of you who do not wish to buy a laser cutter, you can still go into Xtool's design system or any system that you use to design and cut yourself out a nutcracker in all the different pieces to help give it dimension, paint it up and use it, or color it, and use it on the front of a card, on a scrapbook page, as decor on your wall, as beautiful tree ornaments in your Christmas village, whatever you like. So in the second part, he'll be all painted and I will show you how to assemble him. And what is today? Today is Wednesday, so that will be on Friday. Thank you all for joining me. If you have any further questions, comments, concerns about using the M1 Ultra from Xtool, I am by no means an expert, but I will answer what I can or lead you to somebody who can share the knowledge with you. Have a great day and happy crafting. Bye.